Hi friends, today I am painting in my backyard. I have pomegranates. Unfortunately, not sure why, but my pomegranates aren't blooming this October. I did pick some of these fun branches. I have squirrels, so I don't know if that's what's going on, if my squirrels ate them. So I'm going to look at some old pictures from my garden, and I'm going to first draw it out. I am using, for those of you that ask, 140-pound cold press paper. My favorite, these little Artisto pads, which I love because it keeps all my paintings together seasonally, or I can go back and, oh, this is my fall book. Let me look at my color board. It has all my sketches and notes and everything kind of in one place. I'm also going to be drawing today with my, as you can see, I use this so much, I'm almost going to have to order more, but this is the little pearl Blackwing pencil. And the reason I like these is because of the eraser. The eraser is really thin and it's replaceable. Otherwise, I end up with lots of pencils that have no eraser. So that's why I like these. I'll find the link and link it for you. And then using my MeiLiang paints, which I know a lot of you are buying and loving these because they're really reasonable. I can't afford to paint with Winsor Newton every day. So those MeiLiang paints are really great. And I will be, when I start, using my 8 and my 6 round Princeton Velvet Touch brushes. You can definitely use, I'm always sharing these Staccato brushes for beginners if you don't want to invest in the Princeton. And they are really great. I've been really impressed with them. These are about 8 months old and still have their point. They're really, really snappy, which I love. That's just a preference for me. And you get a whole set of these. I want to say maybe 8 or something for under $15. The Princeton brushes run around, I don't know, anywhere from 8 up. So that's kind of my supplies. I do have my fun little palette here. I take up a lot of room mixing and I can still hold it in my hand. So I like this. Make sure you have your 2 wells of water, one to wash, one to rinse. And my little tissue here just to wipe off my brush of excess water. So let's go ahead and I'm going to start drawing this. Not sure if you can see what I've got here. I'm kind of remembering what they look like, and I don't want to draw too dark. I tend to draw darker for you guys so you can see what I'm doing here. But I've got this pomegranate shape here, and they have these little pieces that come out of the top, and they also have these little flowers that come out that are like a little ball, and I'll try to add some of those. And then the leaves, like you see here, which are kind of long and flowy. Let's maybe add one more pomegranate here. And another one of these coming out of the top. These really are so beautiful, and just a little memory I have of these is when I was a kid during Thanksgiving, there was one house that had a pomegranate tree, and we would all try to get there first because he would hand out these pomegranates. And if you got there too late, you missed out because he would give them all away. And everybody kind of knew about him, and it was just kind of a fun little thing. So we would try, and I remember one year we even pretended we got down on our knees, so silly as kids, and tried to act like we hadn't already been there so he would give us more. And of course he recognized us, but was nice enough to give us a few extra anyway. So I'm just drawing some of these leaves like this. They're quite long and dense. So I'm going to add in quite a few here. And the branch is also quite woodsy. And these pomegranates, some of them have these little sharp things on them, which I don't remember when I was a kid, but I'm going to go ahead and put them on here because I think they're kind of interesting. And then maybe here I'll draw the little pod flower that I was sharing with you. They kind of have this little ball on them, like that. And maybe a couple more leaves here. There we go. Maybe one of those little stickers. Now it's interesting because normally I always draw in pairs of threes. And today I'm doing two because I feel like there's kind of these two, and then this is almost another element. So I feel like I have three. So let's go ahead and start painting this. I'm going to grab my 8 round, and what I'm going to do is just take this really pretty red, which is the carmine in the MieLiang palette. Hi, honey. And put a wash down. Now, that little dry spot is just because I don't have a lot of water on my brush. I'm also going to leave some white space. There we go. And then pick up the brown, which you could really, I mean, use any of your browns. I'm going to use this burnt sienna. And just the tip of my brush, so very light pressure. I also want to add in a little deeper brown. So I'm going to use either my rose red, and I could even add in a little bit of that brown just to give it kind of a warmer color. Like that. I think that's really pretty. And let's maybe even add in a little bit of gold or brown up in the top there. And into our stem, which is quite woody. There we go. You could even add a tiny bit of orange in there, I think would be pretty. I just, you know, go at it, have fun, do what is calling to you as far as colors. That's how I paint anyway. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. So just starting with that light wash, add in some water. There we go. And I did leave some white spots in there. Now, because of that leaf there, I would use that browner red underneath there. So it looks a little bit like a shadow. And maybe here, because it's a tiny bit under there. I'm going to pick up some of that orange. I think that's really pretty. And I'm really just playing here with some of these colors, so do the same. You don't have to be exact. Now I'm going to go in while this is all wet and start coloring in, painting in some of these leaves. So point press, point, meaning I'm just tip of my brush, pressure, open up my brush, and then pulling it back up like that. I do notice in these leaves they've got a lot of darker greens, so I'm going to tap in with my brush, even to the brown. Let's pick up some of that really pretty brown. I love brown in my leaves. I think it's really, really pretty. And there you go. And it looks very warm right now. I'll wait on this leaf. Well, let's see. I think it's fine. It kind of blends in with that. Again, on these leaves, I'm just approaching them with light pressure. Point, put more pressure, press, and point like that. Point, press, point. And then going into those, maybe even with a tiny bit of red. Look how pretty that is. Just adds, I always like adding in the color of my fruit or my flower into my leaves. I think it brings this really pretty coherency to the leaves and the fruit. And then let's do, actually we haven't done this either, so let's just go in there, wash and rinse my brush. And I do remember these little blossoms almost were pinkish, like that. And even these branches have some red in them. So the tip of my brush, point and pulling, and then as I start the leaf, I'm opening up by applying pressure to my brush, just like that. A little bit more water, point, press, up to a point. And now here's the branch, which I'm going to add some of that brown to. And I really like how it bloomed into this pomegranate in the background. I'm actually going to create that in these by picking up some of that red and sharing it into the leaf. It's so pretty, isn't it? I don't ever see mistakes in painting, so I'm going to call everything beautiful and pretty, because I think it is. Point, press, just like that. And now these little thorny things, I'm going to add some green to my brown and use the very tip of my brush. So I'm resting my hand always because I can't hold my hand steady. And the very tip of my brush, light, light, light pressure. This is where those warm-ups are so wonderful. And just add in some of those little points. I'm going to even add in some gold to that. I think that's really nice. And there we go. I feel like I'm almost done here. We could always go back in and kind of glaze, put another layer to our pomegranate. So what I mean by that is this was a lighter value, so I could actually go in and pick up more paint versus water, so my value of that color is darker. Ooh, I got a spider crawling off of my little bush I brought in here, like that. So that is darker, and you can always test these to see what color you've got here on a scratch paper. So I think what I might do here is just create using this side of my brush like that. And again on this one, maybe under here and under here. And if you notice, what that also does is it pulls out this leaf. Let's grab a little bit more of that. And I'm going to dab in. There we go. Now, if you want, because for me, I always have a problem with those hard edges, so I tend to go in and kind of soften those a bit. But there you go. I think that makes a big, big difference. Maybe a little bit of that gold. I'm going to add in a tiny bit of cad yellow and gold, and just something like that, just to really bring it out. And then the last thing I want to do, because all of my leaves somewhat look the same value, the same as this was, so what I want to do is just pop some of those leaves out, and I'm going to do that by adding some darker value, meaning more paint, and draw out a few of these leaves. So point, press, like that. Let's do that again, loading my brush, loading the side of my brush, and point, press, like that. Point, press. There we go. So right away, that kind of pops those out. And I think I'm done. All right, everybody, have fun with this. I will list, I'll get you all the links for what I used, and I hope you have fun with this. I think this was an easy little one to draw, and I feel this could be a really pretty little holiday card. And you could even, again, add those metallics to this. Okay, everybody, have fun. Bye.